Okay, so good morning. Good morning, everyone. So this is our next topic, which is on partial derivatives. So if you would notice, medyo kakaiba tong lesson natin na to compared to the previous lessons. Kasi basically, yung ating lesson were most or majority of our lesson before is on integrals. But I opt to place this at the last part of the course kasi you will be using this in your differential equations. Or at least fresh pa sa inyo to when you go to differential equations, itong partial derivatives. Okay? Are you ready? Hello? Hello po. Malinaw po ba ako?
Opo, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start. So partial derivatives is just the usual derivatives that you know. Yun nga lang, this involves hindi dati, di ba, whenever we take the derivative, madaming isa lang ang variable na sa right side. Kunwari, if I have, for example, I have an equation. Wait lang, may mga nagja-join pa. I have an equation here. So I have an equation. If I have, say, f of x, for example, usually f of x lang yung ating pangyayari. F of x equals, say, x squared, and then say plus 3x minus 5, for example. Before, when we take on the derivative, when we take on the first derivative, notice the right side is in terms of x lang. So this will just give you the derivative of x squared again, guys. Derivative of x squared.
2x po.
Okay, so buti naman naalala niyo pa yung derivative. So this will be 2x. Okay, 2x and plus 3, right? Tama ba? Still remember your derivatives? Simple derivatives natin on exponent rule, di ba? We just bring down the exponent to itong x squared natin, exponent niya, we bring that down and then we subtract by 1. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng yung sa itong x na to, okay, we'll have an exponent na 1 na lang. Okay? So, now, so anong pagkakaiba nito sa pagkuha ng partial derivatives? Sa partial derivatives kasi, it involves more than variables, more than one variable. Kunwari, I have an equation f, usually in two variables, kunwari f of x, y, kunwari, and then I have x squared, and then lagyan natin kunwari ng dagdagan natin kunwari dito ng say y. Then I have say another say x, for example. Then I'll place here, I'll make it y cube, for example. Okay, so gawin natin itong y cube. So notice that our new equation or our new function f of xy is an expression or an equation in terms of more than one variable. Dalawa na siya, sa x and then y. So paano natin kukunin yung partial derivative? So si partial derivative, kukunin natin ang usual na notation ng partial derivative is, guys, let me insert another equation. Okay. So si partial derivative, ang symbol na gagamitin natin is, erase this. So ang symbol na ginagamit sa partial derivative is yung curly D na tinatawag. Okay, so it looks like this. Where is it? Wait lang, I'm trying to look for it. Nasaan na si partial curly D? Okay, ito. Ganyan ang, hindi pala. Delta pala yan, sorry. Where is the curly D? Hindi ko mahanap yung symbol na yan. I'll just get it from the internet instead. Okay. Ayan, delta rin pala siya. Kung gana siya dito. Like this. Yung delta na nga lang. It's just delta. Okay. And then, pag may nakita kayong ganyan, partial f yan with respect sa baba, makikita niyo yung kung ano yung variable na gagamitin. Say, kunwari, with respect to x. Okay? I'm not very comfortable with the symbol. Maybe I'm not ano bang partial dito. Theta. Ayun. I think this one is better. Ito pala yung symbol na yan. I was able to find it na guys. It's here, this one. Okay, ito yung better symbol. Okay, this one is your partial differential symbol. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. So, pag nakakita kayong ganito, it means that you are getting the partial derivative with respect to your variable x. So, in that case, you will treat all other variables as constant. Okay po ba yun? Malinaw po ba? Hello po.
Opo, sir.
Okay, so when you take the derivative, si y cube, you will treat y cube as constant. So when you take the derivative now, ang i-treat nyo lang yung x as yung usual derivative, si y, you will treat this as a constant. So when you take the partial derivative of f with respect to x, so this will be 2x, okay, 2x, and then just copy y cube kasi you'll treat it as constant. Diba? When you take the derivative na may constant, you just copy the constant. And then plus, plus, of course, the derivative of x is 1. So that's why we have this. Okay? Malinaw po ba?
Yes po.
Okay. Unlike kapag, if you would remember, yung ating implicit differentiation, depende kasi both x and y are considered variable sometimes. So, nagkakaroon tayo dito ng tinatawag na you can use yung product rule pag ginagamit natin, di ba? Pero ngayon, dahil we treat the other variables as constant, parang constant lang siya. So, kunwari, if I have to place, say, for example, f of x, y, nagkaroon tayo dito ng, say, minus, say, y squared, for example. Okay, kunwari, lagyan natin dito ng minus y squared. What do you think will be, kunwari, y squared, kunwari. What will be your partial of f with respect to x? Naglagay ako dito ng minus y squared. What will be your partial of f with respect to x? Since y squared or y is considered constant, what will be the partial derivative of negative y squared with respect to x? Anyone?
Kokopyahin lang po, sir. Negative y squared.
Mali. Constant, di ba? Ano yung derivative ng constant? Ano yung derivative ng constant? Kunwari, dagdagan pa natin dito. Para hindi tayo lagyan natin kunwari na plus 5, for example. What will be the partial derivative of negative y squared plus 5 with respect to x? Dahil constant sila, di ba ang derivative niyan ay?
Zero po ba, sir?
Okay, very good. So parang may plus 0 tayo dito. But since it's constant, pwede na natin tanggalin yan. So ganun pa rin. Malinaw po ba?
Opo.
Now, what if instead of getting the partial derivative of f with respect to x, kunin natin yung partial derivative of f with respect to y naman. So dahil y yung ating variable, we will now treat the other variables, in this case, yung x as a constant. So paano natin kukunin yung derivative? So copyhin ko lang to guys. Ito. Para makita niyo yung pagkakaiba. Dahil constant lang si x squared, ang kukuhanan lang natin derivative ay y cube. So, ano derivative ni y cube?
2y squared po.
Di ba exponent niya ay 3, so dapat
3y squared po.
3y squared. Okay? So dahil constant si y squared, kukopyahin mo lang yan dyan. Okay? Kukopyahin mo siya guys kapag merong siyang kasamaang variable na kinukuhanan natin ang derivative. Now, what happened to x? Anong mangyayari sa x? Ano naman mangyayari dito kay x? Guys, anong mangyayari dito kay x?
0 po.
Okay, so this x will now be, the derivative of this will be 0. So, ang mangyayari, if I try to, ito, magiging 0. So, pwede na natin itong burahin. We can remove that. Right? And then, what happens to y squared? Anong derivative ni y squared? Ito, yung y squared. Ano mangyayari dyan?
Negative 2y po.
Okay, so this will now become negative 2y. Okay? Ay, wait lang. Sorry, 2y. Delete natin to. Okay, and what about 5? Since constant ito, what will be the derivative of 5? Oh, ito naman. So this will become, anyone? Guys? Okay, very good. 0 ulit. Pag constant, 0 lang ang derivative. Okay? Malinaw po. Nakita niyo yung pagkakaiba ng pagkuha ng derivative with respect to a different variable or when you consider partial derivatives.
Yes po.
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Question po? So, ganun din yun guys kapag mas madaming variable kasi minsan hindi lang dalawa, pwedeng tatlo o pwedeng madami pa yung variable. Kunwari, gawin nating tatlo naman. Kunwari, I have a function. Kunwari, I have a function with respect to x, y, z naman. Gawin nating tatlo. A, z. And then, I have here, lagyan natin siya ng isa. Wala kasi yung aking pangsulat kaya hirap na hirap ako. Lagyan natin itong natin dito ng series. Yeah. Ayan. Gawin natin itong ganito. 7. Ito gawin natin ito. Square of y. Okay, so let me have this. Go to the next one. So, yung kunwari ito. Ano naman natin kunin kunwari? Let's try to get the partial derivative with respect to okay, let's try to get the partial derivative with respect to x ulit. Okay? So, what will be the derivative in this case? So, ganun ulit. But of course, before we do that, pwede naman pala. Okay, so since we have here, okay, ito, all the other variables except for x is considered constant, di ba? So si z, si y, of course, those numbers are all constant. Okay, so when we take the derivative now, walang problema si z to the fourth na nasa denominator kasi parang isipin nyo, kunwari si z to the fourth ay equals a number. So 1 over a number lang siya, so constant lang yon. So ano yung magiging derivative nito? Or what would be the partial derivative of this with respect to x? So you will just, what? Parang copyin ko ulit ito para makita niyo yung transformation. Okay, so wait na. Look at the transformation, guys. What happened? Mangyayari, dahil x squared lang yung parang variable natin dito, ang derivative nito magiging 2x lang. Right? Can you follow?
Yes.
Okay, and then next, the 7x. What would be the derivative of 7x with respect to, a partial derivative of 7x with respect to x?
7 po.
Okay, magiging 7. How about the negative square root of y? This will be, ito yung negative square root of y. Ano na magiging derivative niyan? O partial derivative with respect to x? This would be,
0 po.
okay, 0. Patanggalin natin siya. How about the plus 5z?
Ganun din po, sir. 0 po.
Okay, 0 din siya. So, magiging plus 7 na lang yan. So, delete na natin. Ayan. So, yan ay magiging partial derivative of f with respect to x. Okay, malinaw?
Yes po.
Okay. Now, how about if I take on the partial derivative of f with respect to z naman siya? What will be the derivative of this now? So ito, dahil z ang considered nating variable, so nasa denominator ito, so we can actually use, since quotient yan, so we can use quotient rule, or pwede nating iakyat na lang ito, di ba? And then change, then create a necessary change on the exponent. So pwede natin itong isulat. Okay, let me copy this. Okay. Pwede nating itaas na lang. So, itong z to the fourth, pwede ko siyang itaas. Okay. Natin itong dalawa. So, but what happens to the exponent of z? Ano magiging exponent ng z natin? This must be?
Negative 4 po.
Very good, negative. Kasi tinaas, so nag-iba yung exponent. Same, no, anyway, okay na yan. Now, so how do we get the partial derivative of z? So, gagamitin natin ulit ito. Copyhin ko ulit ito, guys. Okay. Again, so dahil z ang ating nasa denominator or yung sa kuhanan natin ng partial derivative, so yung ibang variable, yung x, yung y, again, we will consider them as constant. Okay? So, para ang magiging derivative niyan ay ito na. So, yung z na lang. So, magiging, we bring down natin yung exponent na negative 4. And then, what happens to the exponent of z? Negative 4. What will happen? We will subtract by 1, so this becomes 1. Negative 4 minus 1 is? No po. Wala na naman kayo.
Negative 5 po. Negative 5 po.
Yun, na-late lang. So, negative 5. How about the 7x? This plus 7x here. Ano yung magiging derivative nitong partial derivative with respect to z, yung 7x?
0 po.
Okay, 0. How about the negative square root of y? With respect to z tayo, guys, ha? So, this will also be 0. Okay. And then the 5z, what will happen to the 5z?
5 po. 5 po.
So magiging 5. So delete na natin to, mawala na rin si z. So that will now be the partial derivative of f with respect to z of the function of x, y, z above. Okay? Malinaw po yung partial derivatives natin.
Apo.
Okay. Sana guys, matandaan nyo to kasi pagdating nyo sa partial differential equation, meron na ba kayong differential equations?
Wala po.
At the next sem nyo, yun ang gagawin nyo. Ito yung unang-unang pag-aaralan nyo, and then you will be dealing with this, and then pagkakuha nyo ng derivative, babalik kayo sa pagkuha ng integrals. Kasi from given the partial derivatives, babalik kayo sa f. So you will just do integrals naman. Okay? So, yun. Meron pang isang gusto kong i-discuss, pero na 11 o'clock na pala, late na tayo. Okay na to. So unless you have questions on partial derivatives, gusto niyo pa ba ng isa pang example? Medyo gawa tayo na medyo mas komplikado na konti. Okay? Parang pang finale natin ngayong sem. Hindi natin dito na ito ta. I think this would be a good one. This one. So, paano pag ganito? Let's try to get the okay, so partial derivative with respect to x naman tayo ulit. So, paano natin ito kukunin? Okay, so si x ay nasa numerator at saka nasa denominator. So, ang gagawin natin dito, igagamit tayo ng quotient rule. Naalala nyo pa ba si quotient rule, guys? Naalala nyo pa?
Opo.
Si Lodi high minus high de low over low squared, right? So, kunin natin isa-isa muna ito. Okay, tawagin nating u. Itong nasa taas na to. Kunin muna natin isa-isa. Okay. Sorry. Tapos, kunin natin yung isa, si v naman. V. Wait lang. V of xy na lang pala. V of V of xyz. Tingnan natin ito dito sa kabila para uniform sila. Yan. V of xyz naman ay itong nasa denominator natin. Tayo na makopya. Ito niya dito. Plus x. Yan. Kunin natin yung partial derivative of u muna. Okay, with respect to x. So this will be what? So ito yung kukuhanan na natin partial derivative with respect to x. So magiging ano? Kopyahin natin ulit ito. Okay, bago natin kunin derivative. So anong derivative ni x squared ulit? So this will become 2x.
2x is square root of 5.
And then yung z, tatanggalin natin si z, right? Partial derivative niyan ay 0. Right? Now, how about the partial derivative of v naman with respect to x? So, notice, si partial derivative of v with respect to x, si numerator, si z squared ay constant at saka si x na lang yun. So, ano yung magiging derivative nito ay, ano? Magiging 1, right? Can you follow?
Opo.
Okay na. So, if we try to get now the partial derivative of f with respect to x, okay, mangyari nito, gagamitin na natin yung ating formula ng quotient rule, di ba? So, we get the denominator. So, we copy this, yung z squared. Okay. Is a parenthesis. So, ito siya. Okay. And then, we multiply with the derivative of, in this case, partial derivative then. So, we copy the partial derivative of u with respect to x. Okay. So, ito siya. Bigyan na rin natin ng parenthesis. Okay. Minus. Okay. Next is we copy the numerator. Okay, so hatin natin ito. This is parentheses. Okay. And then we multiply with the derivative of the denominator. So this will just be 1, right? Like, lumabas. And sa denominator, we have the denominator, and then we square the denominator. Okay, lagyan natin si denominator, muna si x. Okay, square. Can you follow? Malinaw po ba yun?
Yes po, sir.
Opo.
Yes po, sir.
Try na lang natin siya. Then, you're done. Okay? So, ganun pa rin. So, lahat ng alam nyo sa derivatives, ganun pa rin. Yun nga lang dito, when we take on the partial derivative, the other variables will just be considered as constant. Okay? So, same thing with the integrals actually. If you have to get the integrals, importante yung derivative dun yung dx dun. Kasi if you have the dx there, you will treat the other variables there as constant also. Okay, when you take the integrals. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. I hope you had a nice semester with me, and we will have your final exam next time. Okay? And ko na po yung recording if you have, unless you have questions. Wala na, okay.